Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. On the international stage, North Korea is typically viewed as a closed-off, unpredictable country that poses a potential threat, a regime that scarcely cares about its national credibility or global image. But what is its attitude toward its own people? North Korea declares itself a country of workers, farmers, soldiers, and intellectuals, portraying society as united, prosperous, and stable. Its official media repeatedly highlights supposedly free housing, free healthcare, and free education, emphasizing the government's meticulous care for its citizens in an attempt to shape an image of a socialist utopia where the people are the masters. Yet in reality, can a regime that completely disregards its international reputation truly be kind to its own populace? To explore this question, let's first look at how North Korean society is structured. In North Korea, all citizens are divided into three major classes, which are further split into 51 subcategories. These three classes are the core class, the wavering class, and the hostile class. They are categorized based on people's roles during the period of Japanese colonial rule over Korea and during the Korean War. Above all these classes is the Kim family, akin to an imperial dynasty. The core class primarily consists of people closely connected to the Kim family, such as Kim Jong-un's grandfather, the father of the nation, Kim Il-sung's wartime comrades, their families, and descendants. Then it also includes those who made significant contributions during the anti-Japanese struggles and the Korean War, along with their relatives and descendants. These individuals form North Korea's privileged stratum, often referred to in broad terms as possessing peak-to-mountain bloodline. They effectively monopolize party, government, and military leadership roles at all levels, ranked according to how their ancestors were related to the Kims and the scale of their contributions. They enjoy privileges in food rations, housing, employment, and education far beyond what ordinary people receive. Their status is hereditary. As long as they do not commit serious offenses, like betraying the Kim family or defecting to South Korea, this status can be passed down through generations. They account for about 28% of the population. The wavering class refers to groups whose loyalty to the Kim regime is deemed less than certain, such as small to mid-level merchants, artisans, and ordinary workers and farmers. This class is internally divided into 18 subtiers, with a very complicated set of criteria. Their social benefits do not compare to those of the core class, but they can earn a living as long as they do nothing considered a threat to the regime. The main function of this class is to serve the core class. They account for over 50% of the population. The hostile class is also called the complex class. The hostile class includes descendants of capitalists or landlords, families of South Korean soldiers captured during the Korean War, people who have religious beliefs or a history of living abroad, and anyone demoted from the other two classes due to mistakes or offenses. Ironically, after North Korea was re-established, over 100,000 Korean laborers returned from Japan. These workers had originally been forced to leave Korea for Japan under colonial rule, taking on grueling labor jobs and enduring discrimination. When their homeland was restored, they eagerly returned to North Korea, hopeful about rebuilding their country, only to be collectively labeled as hostile. Most of this class is placed on remote farms, in mines, or factories where they perform the hardest physical labor and receive the lowest rations. They are barred from entering core cities like Pyongyang. These people do the toughest work, eat the poorest meals, and spend their entire lives under surveillance, treated essentially like slaves. They account for about 20% of the population. Everything in North Korean society depends on your class. Whether you can attend university, which job you can hold, what sort of home you can live in, and even which region you can reside in, all of this is determined by your class. There are two distinctive characteristics to these class divisions in North Korea. 1. Class is almost only downwardly mobile. If you're born into the wavering or hostile class, no matter how hard you work, how loyal you are, or how capable you might be, it's extremely difficult to advance into the core class. Moving upward is virtually impossible in North Korea, while being demoted is quite common. For instance, if someone in the core class is found disloyal to the great leader or offends him, they could be stripped of core class and even imprisoned. Consequently, both the core and wavering classes are compelled to constantly demonstrate their loyalty to avoid a downward slide. For core class families, as long as they excel at showing loyalty, they can preserve their wealth and standing for generations. This explains why, in North Korean media, whenever Kim Jong-un visits a place, massive crowds rush forward in tears of jubilation, not because they are forced, but because publicly displaying loyalty is their best strategy to maintain status. 2. Class assignments are not public. Although everyone in North Korea knows they belong to one of the three classes, the exact details, like which subtier they occupy, are never disclosed. All records are controlled by a central authority called the Ministry of State Security, and nobody except the great leader and his trusted circle has access to them. As time flows, people will change, yet the North Korea government wants to keep tight control. It set up the People's Unit system in the 1960s. Every 20 or so households form a unit, led by a unit head who conducts daily oversight. If someone breaks a rule, say they make negative remarks about the leadership or policies, or watch South Korean media, the unit head can report them to higher-ups and receive a reward if the report is verified. Conversely, if the unit head fails to detect such misdeeds but someone else reports them, the head is punished as well. This creates a pervasive atmosphere of mutual surveillance and denunciation, so the entire society is on high alert, with everyone living in constant fear. The following instance will help you understand how terrifying this system is. A unit head from the core class, who had a TV at home, often invited neighbors and friends over to watch. During one broadcast, the leader was shown touring a shoe factory claiming it produced tens of thousands of rain boots every year. The husband of this unit head blurted, "If they make so many boots, why haven't our kids seen even one pair?" A neighbor reported him, and the unit head was immediately taken for interrogation. Fortunately, her bloodline was strong enough, and she happened to be a skilled journalist. She managed to spin it as lamenting her own lack of ability to provide rain boots for her children, thus escaping punishment. Returning to our opening question, the answer is obvious. If a government divides its own people into so many classes, treating them as objects of constant suspicion and repression, how could it genuinely care about their well-being?